motorcycle clubs before social media. Where the heck is this subject coming from? Well, in the last week, I've already talked about this stuff, man. You got all these AI channels out there doing nothing but the gangland stuff. And it's funny, some of the comments that I seen in that video had to do with, well, that's what people like seeing. It's like, okay, let's get a little more honest here then about how clubs used to be before social media. And it's funny, was watching the Big Boneyard with Big Bone, Archbishop, and also Black Dragon was on there. And boy, you know how I like playing around with Black Dragon, asking all the tough questions. Anyway, there was a couple that I was asking, and I sat back for the last couple days and thought about them questions. And I was like, you know what? It's true. Things have changed. What am I talking about here? Well, before social media, I think that the club scene was a lot more tighter than it is now. Everybody who has a camera or a phone now can sit there, go on freaking like TikTok. Now, TikTok is the worst one, I think, personally, with this, because you see that's the new platform that everybody goes to. Nobody has an attention span, so they watch these 30-second videos or up to 3 minutes. I don't know what the hell it is over there. I just post some stuff there once in a while. I really don't go that much into TikTok because it's a damn cesspool over there. But anyway, anybody with a phone grabs their phone and starts talking about how you should do this and how you should do that. If you're around this kind of club, do this and do that. And it's like somebody like me, I sit back and like, what the hell, man? Really? Some of the stuff you're saying is really stupid. But then you look at them, they're like 20, 30 years old. Next thing you know, it's like, damn, man, you think you're an expert after a year or something? What's going on here, man? You're going to get people hurt. But then I also get people that say, hey, man, you just think, you're old. The club scene is evolving. That is my favorite one. The club scene is evolving. And I look at myself in the mirror and say, what the hell are they talking about? And then I brought up that question on the Big Boneyard. Club scene ain't all cookies and ice cream here. And when was it ever acceptable for a man and a woman to be on the same level? I was thinking at the time I put that question, man, this is a man's world, but it's been so watered down now. It's unbelievable, because I did ask that question. I kind of stumped Big Bone there. If you're in one of these co-ed clubs and you're a man and you're prospecting for said club, does that woman have the right to tell that man what to do as a prospect? And I guess that is some silly stuff to me, because I never saw that coming in. In the 90s, it was a lot different. You did not have a man being told what to do with a woman. And it's like flipped on its head nowadays. And do I blame social media? I have to say yes. And the reason why I do is you get all these different opinions, and next thing you know, it's making it out onto the street. I make fun of Black Dragon all the time because, he goes in the 99%er stuff, and it was him that started 99%er stuff, which was on the internet, because the only thing I knew about 99% was the DC Eagles out of here in Chicago, the 99 NFGs. But now, with the help of the internet, that kind of stuff has really spread out. And it's still to this day, you don't want to be running around calling yourself a 99%er in Chicago, because it's a lot different here, and it has a lot different meaning to a lot of people here in the city. But that's just one example of how social media has really changed what everything is about. You know, the guys that I came up with, it was a no nonsense type of deal. Where do you think the reputations of a lot of these clubs come from? They come back, they go back all the way to when they began, but more importantly, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's where the reputations went. And to see anybody doing a video in their colors would have been sacrilegious back in them days. You'd have got hurt doing that kind of stuff. But now it's like, okay, well, it's a new generation. This is what they do. This is the way they think. So it's okay. I don't know. Do you think it's okay to do stuff in your colors? Because you represent that club when you do that. No, that's the way I would think. It's basically saying, okay, the club gave you carte blanche to go ahead and do what you want to say on social media. Now, does it help clubs recruit? Yes, it does. For any of you that don't think all the big clubs don't recruit on the internet, you are really ignorant. That is I have to admit, even me, it's a good recruiting tool to have somebody is in a particular club where you don't have to go out and shake anybody's hands anymore. All you have to do is go on the internet and message that person, get a conversation going. Next thing you know, you're getting invited to open houses and stuff. So, yeah, recruiting on the internet is happening. And again, for all you schlucks that don't think it is, something is wrong with you because you're the ones going around, well, that's an internet based club. The big ones are doing it too. Don't fool yourself. The big ones are doing it too. And do I blame clubs for doing that? Well, no. If they stick with the traditional way of doing things, which is the background checks, your hang around probate prospect, whatever you call it, time, yeah, then because it's hard out there to get new people. Clubs have been losing people for a long time. And maybe the internet has breathed some life into it again because that's what this generation believes. But before social media, it was you better go out there. You got to meet them in person. You got to talk with them. You got to hang around. They got to get to know you. It was a long process to get in one of these motorcycle clubs. And for those that use internet based recruiting, again, it's actually a genius way of doing it if it's done right. But you see a lot of clubs out there now, they're taking Facebook ads out saying they're recruiting. It's like, man, that's like in your face at that point, and no wonder everybody calls you an internet club. But done in a way, I guess, that some of the clubs are doing it with, they have some people out there in their colors just screwing around, riding their motorcycles, and people get to see that and maybe make some connections that way. It is kind of genius that, as long as you don't throw away your traditional methods of putting somebody in a club. So social media has really changed clubs. And before social media, clubs were some hardcore boys, man. Cookies and ice creams, my ass. It was a lot more hardcore back then. The people thought a lot different than they do now. It was a lifestyle. And sometimes a lot of people that are older gets upset when they see the stuff on social media because it's like making a mockery of the lifestyle. Hell, there's nothing worse than a cop and wearing a three-piece patch to a lot of people. But it's been accepted because, oh, well, they're cool. They're on social media and they seem like a bunch of nice guys. Yeah, them guys that are old raggedy ass bikers, they're jerks and they're not going to accept me. So, yeah, it's propaganda as well on their part. because cop clubs were never acceptable. The only one I used to know of was the Blue Knights, and that's because they're old. But they knew to stay in their lane and not screw around on the other side. So, yeah, a lot of stuff has changed, and a lot of people out there giving advice that only have a year or two in it. But, hey, that's the new era we live in, man. What can I say? Was it better before social media? Hell yeah, it was, because you didn't have a lot of this PC talk that went on. You didn't have these different type of co-ed stuff. Most of them were just associations. Now they're wearing MCs on their back. It is like, damn, man, you're gonna send a woman into a bar or something goes down, they're wearing an MC. It's like, dude, do you punch her in the mouth or not? It makes you pause, man, with all this New Jack stuff. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section with all this. Go over to the Morning Madhouse over on YouTube. We go live for the second half of the show, or motorcyclemadhouse.com. You to listen right over there. I'll be back. Rock on.
Is an in-depth look at the trials and tribulations of street gang and motorcycle club life. This isn't the run-of-the-mill book that doesn't give the goods. This book will go into detail of events that actually happened. All materials in this book have been approved by those involved. There is nothing poetic, nor is there any price worth paying for the life we choose to live on the streets. James Hollywood Machikari, Brotherhood and Betrayal.